Hello, Moon to Moon. Welcome to the fourth in this series that I'm doing on the houses, where we're looking at the houses and self-abandonment. And in this one, we're going to be looking at the fourth house, one of my favorite houses to talk about. They're all my favorite houses to talk about. Okay. But this is a really interesting one to do in a Zoom space with students. I love exploring this with other human beings and finding out how their own experiences through their charts, like really bring in even more data around what we're going to be talking about here today. I would say that back when I did readings, that fourth house was pretty common house to spend some time in. I think you're going to really feel that once we start to get into it. So let's do some context with this series. What we're doing is we're looking at the houses as zones of the terrestrial life of human beings doing our human life. This is this kind of the way I teach it is like it's like a horizontal plane where we enter life and we move through time and space and we have experiences. And it's these experiences that are the most pleasurable things about being a human and the most painful things about being human. And in my journey, my mystical journey of transformation at midlife, I found that the places where life was painful and can be painful have a whole lot to do with where there's a sense of dissonance in myself or incongruence in myself, where I sense that I am not living in me. I am not living as me. I am not living from me. I am not participating in life from a me place. And over the course of my astrological career, I started giving readings in the spring of 2018. And in the first few years of my career, one-on-one was my primary work. I slowly started to add teachings. So then there was a period where I was doing readings and groups at the same time. And then around 2022, I stopped doing readings completely and moved to focus solely on teaching. I still do one-on-ones for a handful of people, and these are my witch sister clients, where we are with the chart and we are not with the chart because it's a very mystical space where energy is often the primary thing that I'm tuning into. And that's another a whole other conversation. I started learning astrology from a place of having been studying intuition, having been studying energy, having learned how to notice where is my energy, whose energy is in my space, whose voices are in my heads, where am I tethered, corded up with others so that I am not free. And my whole transformational journey began because I learned intuition and very quickly started to make big moves like asking for a divorce. I started to say no to things. I started to say no because what I was seeing is like, no, this is not for me. And those no's helped me get on a pathway towards the yeses that were trying to make their way to me, but I couldn't see them inside of the gunk of not knowing where I am. So when I found astrology, I approached it from an energy perspective and an intuition perspective. And that's why in the Emergence Astrology pathway, which is how you can study with me, in year one, the whole focus is on intuition, learning to hear yourself, learning to sense energy, learning how to tune in, learning how to create ritual, um, psychic development, learning how to be a person of personal gnosis, all of the things that to me, you need to learn these things before you learn astrology. In my opinion, if you want to learn astrology with me, I have now made it so that you will learn intuition first. And you will learn it in the way that I speak it and cultivate it. And there's so many amazing teachers out there. One of the things I love about continuing to move in my psychic development and my own intuitive gifts is I love to learn from different people because different teachers use different vocabulary and the words someone uses can like actually unlock knowings that you weren't able to see until someone said it that way. So even if you have a background in intuition, I encourage you to continue to learn from others because the continuation of your development is often like progressed according to the um, access to different kinds of vocabularies and pathways into the gnosis. So I'm going to share with you mine so that we can then grow from those together as we continue to get into the emergence astrology ways together. And I've been increasingly understanding that emergence astrology is very much about learning how to be a person inside of yourself, learning how to be a person of presence, learning how to be a person in congruence, learning how to be a person who moves according to resonance, learning to be a person who listens, including listening into mystery and listening into the unknown, so that you can cultivate and sit down deep inside your own way with astrology, amplified by your own voice, which becomes the lantern lighting the way of your entire life path. And then being able to bring that into your communities, to the people who know you, to the people impacted by your very presence, to the people impacted by the voice that you put into the world. That's what we're doing. it's, it's not, um, yeah, it's one that if you are very nerdy with astrology, like you just like want to learn everything, then I would tell you to do what I would tell you to do anyway, is learn from many people. Don't have just one astrology teacher. Emergence astrology will deepen your relationship to astrology like you can't even fathom until you get there. And I still think if you love, love, love astrology, also keep learning from others. And I'll be providing my suggestions on that to my students. And also, your colleagues will have lots of great names and teachers to suggest. But what we're really doing here is self in house, like learning how to be a person who turns towards your pathway from your own internal compass and bringing that gift to the collective, because that is the gift you came here with. So, identifying self abandonment is the power move because we usually, as far as I've ever seen and all the people I've ever worked with, we're usually not very aware of self abandonment as such. We just think it's like who we are. We just think these are the patterns that we have. We just think this is the problems with us. And shame plays a huge role in that because shame is the context from which we see reality. Because I like to think of shame as a pair of like goggles or lenses or glasses, spectacles that you have on. And the spell of shame is that you don't realize you have these glasses on. So because you don't realize you have these glasses on, you don't know that you could take them off. So unshaming is the daily practice of continually showing up to the work of getting these glasses off so that you start to see more and more clearly and less through the color and film and quality of those goggles. And can start to relate to your chart from a more clear place. Because how can you really know your chart when you're seeing it through the lens of shame? And this is why all my work got into unshaming is because I saw that this is what my clients, this is what's in the room with my clients and my students is shame. which is making it very, very difficult for them to get close to their charts. Very, very difficult to hear me when I'm talking about these planets loving you. So then unshaming became central to my work. And of course, it's central to all the practices that I teach because this is the slow process of, well, it can be very fast too. It's just that we're always sort of, there's always new layers, but you can rapidly unshame. I've known rapid unshaming. You just have to trust that it works. That's the magical ingredient always to everything is to be willing to trust in the impossible, which is that change can happen for you and all possibilities do exist. Hmm. Okay. So when we talk about the fourth house, this word context is really important. Just a moment ago, I said that shame is the context through which most people are operating. Once you start to see it, you see it everywhere. Someone's speaking to you, and you can tell that the origin of whatever they're saying is coming from their own shame and their own shame based way of relating to themselves and to the world and what's possible for them and for the world. And um, as you unshame, you just start to see what a massive liberation it is and how it frees all of your relationships to get so much deeper and so much more beautiful, how it allows repair that you couldn't even imagine happening between you and somebody else to be able to happen. It allows forceful participation, loud showing up, possibilities of big visibility and being seen and taking up space to happen because it hasn't been happening because of the shame. And so when we talk about the fourth house as the context of you, that's one of the ways that I teach it. Um, it is also important to think about the ways that the context of shame has an origin in the fourth house. So let's go into the dive. Emergence Astrology Pathway opens for enrollment June 21. There'll be a couple days of early bird pricing. You'll save $300 if you apply then. And then it'll be open the rest of June. And then we'll be off. And if you're wondering, each year of the Emergence of Astrology Pathway is like its own contained experience. When you finish year one and if you feel complete, you will not feel like you're left with a cliffhanger. Each year has like a very clear intelligence that builds. So you do need to do year one before year two and so on. But you also can just come for year one, or you can just plan to do year one and decide about year two later. Like you don't have to commit to 3 years is what I'm saying. But if you want to go if you want the big experience, then I'd say that the magic leap is to tell yourself you're going to so that you can leap into it. That's just my general way of being in all risks is I tell myself to take a big leap. And that way I like kind of am in a no turning back attitude with the thing. And I'm not like second guessing it all the time. Like, did I make the right choice? Like, just go. You can't fuck it up. All right. But you don't have to decide. Anyway, I was saying something about the fourth house. Yes, the fourth house. So, the fourth house, we associate with the house we grow up in, the quality, energetic quality, the moods, the vibe of the childhood home or homes, and the caregivers who were sort of like the dominating adult figures in those homes running the household. And then it also can relate to lineage, like deep lineage, land, the context of the water, the context of the water that you came from. No small thing. The fourth house is your experience of the family, but also their experience of you. and what it was like. What it was like. So already there's a lot. There's a lot. Because then it also relates to the present moment where we have our own living spaces as adults, the living space that we cultivate, which is a changing thing. It's always changing. Um, the sky continues to talk to the fourth house, and what we want from that foundational place, like the private life, the place that you come home, where you come home into yourself. You've left your public role and you can come home into yourself. So when we think about self-abandonment as like self in-house, as I've been playing with these last few episodes, the fourth house is like the literal structure over your head, living space that you have for yourself to fall back into, to fall back into. And like, what feels good for that? What of that is connected to the essence of who you know yourself to be and what you want for your private life? What feels good for your private life? And how you want to take up space inside of it. So, one of the things that I think is really interesting from the hours and hours and hours I've spent on the fourth house over these years is how it feels true that until you've really been in a journey of individuation, like really coming into yourself, the not self-abandoning, as in coming into yourself, becoming specific in yourself. Until then, the fourth house is like a mystery. So many people like there's kind of like crickets about the fourth house, just like I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't know how to describe that planet in that house. Like, I don't understand what that planet in that house means. This is so common. In many ways, it's because it's the context, and it's very difficult to see the context. It's very difficult to get outside of ourselves to see the context. It just is the way things are. We can't fathom a different thing. It is like the rule of the world, like the law of the universe, and not an option. It's not showing itself to be a place for present time creating new pathways until, there's a lot of evidence with this, until some kind of major transit or something wakes that planet in your fourth house up. So something like makes you come into your fourth house and sit inside of it. And it's really interesting when I think about this in relationship to um, initiation journeys. In the Speech of the Grail, which we read in the Magician's Table, it's one of my favorite books. The students in year three, I know that there's some interest in us doing Speech of the Grail together. Maybe we will. We have to have that meeting first. Anyway, it's a very dense book. It's kind of it's a very slow read. Recently someone told me they're only processing it now on their third effort, but it's very worth it. It is so rich. It's the tale of Parzival, and who's the Grail Knight, and he's a person who is us, who is becoming initiated into being a person who heals and transforms through their speech. And speech here is defined not just as utterances, but also as gesture, as silence, as all the ways that you show up in yourself. And the first initiation is leaving of the mother, because the father had died. And then there's this kind of overbearing mother, or like dominating mother. And in order for this story to even happen, he has to leave the house. And this separating from the parents is like a theme that all initiations have, whereby we come to identify how we're not our parents, how we're not our caregivers, how we are not the context, actually. She has this incredible phrasing that I talk about in my Zoom rooms where we get intimate with it together, where she uses this phrase to identify and surpass the core strivings of your caregivers. Strivings, such a good word. You can like just tune into the energy of striving and you're like, got it. I see what that is. Yeah. What was my caregiver's core striving? Is that my core striving? What role did I play to help them meet their core striving? How was I relating to their core striving as my responsibility? How did I refuse? How did I accept that role? What is my core striving? And these kinds of questions, I think, are part of how we reclaim the fourth house for ourselves. Like we're always who we're from, but yet we're also in our own journey. And a lot of us had caregivers who had caregivers who had caregivers who had caregivers who experienced a lot of trauma and not a lot of very mature attunement. So we didn't get that ourselves as much as they may have tried their very best and had the most beautiful intentions. Ultimately, the fourth house is bringing us back to how to take care of ourselves and build a home to live inside for ourselves and to cultivate the foundations of safety that we need in order to do all that we do out in the external world so that we can let the fourth house really hold us, really let it hold us. But we have to be willing to see the context where we were told a bunch of garbage about ourselves. We were led to believe things about ourselves. We were led into patterns, ways of seeing ourselves that we did in order to survive, to adapt, to live inside the conditions of our context. Even if you had a very happy childhood home, there are degrees to which this is true, especially as you continue to adult and wonder about why you're doing that thing that doesn't actually feel like you. So I feel that the fourth house really has a lot, has so much, but it's hard to see. It's really hard to see. It's also really hard to see the eighth and the 12th house. These are what we call the water houses, even if you don't have water signs there. Um, and these houses are in a relationship and a sextile relationship to the earth houses 2, 6, 10 that relate to like money and material life, livelihood, abundance, what we're known for, reputation, our work. And so, what I found to be true is that a lot of my work is addressing both of those things, like mystics making money, the magician's table, the work I do with my mentees in Ablaze and in Witch Sister. Like we're holding both the visible dream and the visible goals and those conscious goals with these subtle, more invisible, less conscious, kind of under the ground, unconscious parts of ourselves that are holding a lot of this story, holding a lot of the factors that have cultivated patterns of self-abandonment that we're now untangling from and we're releasing from. We're surrendering that those patterns don't need to take care of us anymore because we're taking care of ourselves. And that's very much a fourth house thing is like, how are you cultivating a space to take care of you? Because your fourth house is what you're coming home to. So it's got a lot of home energy. And so how do you feel about home? And is it yours? So you can see it's like, oh, wow, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. There's a lot there to get into. And yeah, that's a deep exploration that wants time. It wants uh the slow drip of being with it. Because just because we can learn something mentally doesn't mean that it's actually like really moving through us in a way where we can integrate it. It's a powerful house to integrate and metabolize in with colleagues because hearing their stories and feeling the kind of the way that emergence works through the room has like deep healing effects. And it's really, really nurturing the way we can hold all that in a room together. So, yeah. Let me feel into if there was anything else I might want to say on the fourth house here. I think I covered most of the things. Before I leave, I want to thank I got a few more reviews for Moon to Moon, y'all. This is like abundance. Thank you so much for these recent ratings and reviews. My goodness. If you have never left a rating or review, listener, please join these wonderful reviewers in putting things down. It's really, really helpful for Moon to Moon. It helps people find the podcast. It helps people sense, oh, there's something for me here. I want to check it out. I really, really, really appreciate it. And in the meantime, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the fifth house episode. Please check out the Emergence Astrology Pathway Year One link in the show notes. Come get a sense for it because this can transform you, transform your life, bring you home to self if this is for you. Would love, love, love having you with me for a year plus. We'll go deep. Thank you so much, and I will see you at the fifth house exploration.